Dog, and welcome back to the Norwegian campaign in Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. So these two invasions should be done next month, and that's going to free up a couple of ships. And those ships can then be sent over here to fight this task force. Because that is the last remaining, enemy force of any decent size left afloat. United States down to mainly cruisers and destroyers, spread and scattered all around. Britain, they have that big task force, which is almost all of their tonnage. France is down to almost nothing. Spain, they do have some ships, but they're not my enemy at the moment. The same with Germany. Well, I tried to get a fight going with Spain, but they paid me off instead. Anyway, let's go to April and see what happens. And I have indeed taken a few more provinces. I would like to get to at least 200 before the end of the campaign. Admirals getting replaced. Here we go, border patrol. Yeah, we got one of the Horn that I showed you last at the end of the last episode. I haven't given them the refits yet because I didn't have the tonnage. But let's see. That is you. No, Evad. That is the Horn. Helga, you are not really suited for fighting a modern light cruiser. I guess I can just kind of keep you around. Bring it in if I need the torpedoes. Let's see. And of course, Vicksburg is out spotting Evad. Even if I did give it the refit with radar generation 3, it wouldn't make a huge difference. It is the base tower spotting that is just not very good. So whether you increase that by 200% or 250% doesn't really make a huge difference. What it does have going for it is, for a light cruiser, it's got pretty good resistance and decent armor. So it should be able to slug it out. It's done that before with other types of enemy cruisers. Not sure if it's gone up against one of these, whichever class it was. 7.2-inch guns, 4 singles, so I got twice the number of guns. I got better extended armor at least, but I don't have these torpedoes. And I think I will struggle actually spotting those torpedoes if they are launched, even with sonar 2. Because again, the basic spotting value of my towers is just kind of bad. So the percentage-based increase not gonna make a huge difference. They have launched now though, so we're gonna maneuver a little bit. Reduce that already slow top speed. It doesn't seem to be bleeding much. We're still doing 22 knots. There they are. Did spot them in time. so not too bad. Let's stick to a cruising speed of like 20 knots. Are they retreating? That's cowardly. Can't follow them. Can bring in Helga as well. Yeah, they're kind of just skirting outside of my my gun range. Are you not going to come closer? There you are. That's of course another pretty big drawback with these light cruisers. They're not exactly fast. I think they're the slowest ships I have in my navy at the moment. 'Cause I don't have any of the 21 knot dreadnoughts left. I have taken no damage. But I haven't done a lot of damage either. Let's see if that changes now, though. That my secondaries have gotten involved. Yeah, we're winning this slug match. Let's see, half the hull is out of the water. That doesn't look good. That's slightly better. There we go. Still at 0 damage taken. Proving the concept of these slightly archaic semi-armored cruisers. And they're out of torpedoes, they're out of a lot of secondary weapons, and they are flooding. So, nice. And that's a $1 billion light cruiser. Sunk by something much, much cheaper. Without taking a scratch. Excellent. Alright. Port strike. And a task force failing to escape. Right. Let's go. And these are the ones that just won't flood. So, yeah. Let's have my stuff organized again. These heavy cruisers can just follow the battle cruisers. That is, by the way, the captured British defense class battlecruiser, which used to be named Tordenskjold, but then I realized I had my own class of battlecruisers with the same name, so that just wouldn't do. But here we go. Things are getting organized. Probably gonna have a bit of like bumper car thing going on here with the ships colliding, but that's how it goes. Not too bad. Luckily, we don't take damage from friendly rams, so I think we are spotting one of the cruisers already. There it is. Narcissus. I mean, it's not a bad ship. Not much I can say negatively about this build. We're gonna HE pen the extended belts though. That's the plan. So, big 18-inch guns. Gonna load HE. Canary, you can, if your 13s are in range, they are not. You can target that light cruiser when it gets closer. Are we getting any big hits yet? Well, nothing yet, I can see that, but there we go. Knocked out a funnel. Knocked out the 4-belt. And there we go. That's more like it. Escorting cruisers, you can start targeting that destroyer. And there we go. I think that's the end of Narcissus. Oh, almost. Yeah, that's the end. So we're just going to switch targets. Heavy cruisers can keep targeting Simoom. There we go, scoring some hits on the destroyer. Knocked out the tower and some guns, but that's not really... Is this also filled with anti-flood foam? No, it isn't. It does take flooding. Never mind. And it floods. There we go. Cruisers are engaging. Let's make sure we don't just sail away into the sunset. Let's up the game speed a little bit, because these things are not gonna flood. So there they are. Now they're coming closer. I was wondering why they weren't directly engaging. I guess they're still not, they're just sailing around. Doing AI things. Oh, flooding? I didn't think that would happen. I mean, it's not much, but it's some. Zero structure, 100% afloat. Is the bug bugged? I almost think it is. And there we go, structural damage. Yeah, it did actually take a flooding hit. Alright. And we got heavy on light cruiser action here. Nice. Alright, should be a fairly straightforward little battle. Shouldn't be much of a challenge, I think. Let's go with AP and just get into range. I can see the radar ping here, way off in the distance. But at 10 times game speed, at least we're closing at a decent rate. There you are. And that is the same class that we fought with the Jallarhorn at the start of the video. I've forgotten the class name of this. It's not important. Let's do some kind of cruising speed. First couple of hits scored. There we go. Their main tower is out. It's a pretty fast light cruiser. There we go. A bit of flooding. And it's got decent torpedoes. Unlike the light cruiser, this cannot have sonar. But I think the base torpedo spotting range of these towers is probably not too bad. Well, the ship is decently maneuverable, so should be spotting the torpedoes in time. Can we get a perfect win though, like we did with the Jallarhorn? Evidently not, because we just took 2 damage. I'm gonna have to maneuver a bit to avoid torpedoes though. But there she goes. Oh, there's the torpedo. Yeah, it did get very close before I saw it. But it missed, so good enough. Oakland class. Okay. A single destroyer. Alright. And here we are in range. I'm just going to use a couple of light cruisers for this. I'm wondering, this specific American destroyer class, kind of small, not very fast. I wonder, is this based on their equivalent of like a Corvette hull? Like the ones I designed last video. Small, inexpensive, kind of slow. but potentially kind of tough. If it's like, oh, it's very inexpensive, 26 million. I think that is it. And the AI just considers it like any other kind of destroyer, because it technically is a DD hull. I think the K-55 class I designed last month was pretty nice. And it's probably going to work for what it's intended to be. But I wouldn't rely on it as my main destroyer class, which I think the AI is. So there we go. Those are the meeting battles out of the way. Naval invasion of Shetland. I've taken Syria and Palestine. And I've opened an invasion of Ceylon. So, let's see. I think I might beat the British to the punch in taking Afghanistan. Now though, this is back to 100%, so that's gonna go through. And here's that big British force. Let's see, what kind of Lebanon. I'll have to come back and take that later, because these ships suddenly have a job to do. Do I have any Moonin is repaired. Dominant, that's suspended. Kurdlan too. I should probably find some tonnage to unsuspend those. But anyway, these other ships, we're gonna send them here. Or at least try to. And engage this force. Nice. Let's see, 100%. We got these two convoy battles to deal with. So let's see. Shikoku. Could try taking that. That's not worth much though. I think I'm just going to launch an invasion of Eastern India, if possible. Only 73,000 tons. That is a lot less than I expected. It's because Madras is not a big port. My army's not really making any headway into Burma. British army logistics is only 25%. I think if I can engage and sink that big task force, it's gonna drop considerably, because there goes most of their tonnage. Anyway, Embla, you got this. And it's one of those French super destroyers. I think we can take it on. It's not really that super. The only thing crazy about it is its size and price tag, which means it's actually worth a lot of victory points. And that's kind of super, at least for me. Let's see. Yeah, poor Embla does not have the best tower spotting range, but those big French destroyers, being the size of a light cruiser, they're not actually that hard to spot. I mean, it's hiding in smokescreen now, though, but... Let's see, we're almost in range. I can do the torpedo trick. Let's see, guns on the destroyer and torpedoes on the transport in the middle. And maybe we're gonna get a couple of hits, and maybe not. First spread is in the water. Second spread is in the water. Do the transports carry torpedoes? They do not. Let's turn again. Let's try and keep that enemy destroyer in the impact zone of the torpedoes. Although, nah, nope, not gonna get any hits. Did strike a transport though. There we go. Took some damage when turning around. Oh, you got even more torpedoes. You have on both sides. You really are masquerading as a light cruiser, aren't you? There you go, surrendered. Oh, it's got bow and stern launchers. But now though, let's just sink the transports. Get those 2-inch guns in range. We can start doing something. Yeah, 11, almost 12% crew loss, and most of that is from the torpedo launchers. There we go, 2-inch guns are opening up. We got 4.7-inch guns on these transports. That's pretty punchy for a transport ship. And both of them surrender. Nice. Alright. But there's one more. Let's see. J48 versus Liberty. Alright. I'm gonna get this out of the way, and then maybe next month, if we're lucky, we're gonna get an engagement with that big British task force that has been avoiding direct combat for so long. Right, so the usual guns on the enemy destroyer and torpedoes on the transports, and then we're just gonna hope to get lucky. Maybe so it's gonna try and come closer, right? And directly engage J4804. Transports do not have torpedoes, only 2.5-inch guns. Thermogant, what kind of torpedoes? Electrics. Okay, now let's launch at the transports. Actually, let's have one spread launched directly at the enemy destroyer. There we go. Lucky torpedo hit. See, it does work sometimes. Sadly, I've taken some hits myself. Which is not good. I've knocked out some engines. I could see torpedo detonations in the water. I can still maintain an 18 knot top speed though. Maybe even more. Lost one of my turrets. We're just gonna have to close in again. At 18 knots, I can still catch up to the transports. Which means I'm gonna catch up to Termagant as well. Eventually. What kind of range do you have on those? 12.7? Apparently I've done twice as much damage as I've taken, but it doesn't really feel like it. Yeah, much of that is from the torpedo, which supposedly did 17,000 damage to that enemy destroyer, but really doesn't show it. Not quite in range yet, but we're getting there. Yeah, that single barrel 5.2 will probably have the range first. There we go. Nah, I'm not winning a gunfight with this thing, I don't think. No. That didn't work. They really haven't done as well as I hoped in those kind of destroyer-on-destroyer duels, even after the refits. So, let's see. Is the army doing any kind of work? I guess it kind of is pushing into here. Are we taking anything from the Americans here? Eastern Turkey being invaded from every direction. Which you would think is good, but it isn't, because that splits up my attack force. Might take... No, I'm not invading Afghanistan, I'm invading Pakistan, that's right. Which is now not gonna work, because when the British launched an invasion of Afghanistan, their army in Pakistan just... I think it was at 57,000 or so. But it's now almost 400,000, so okay. Yeah. Now, let's see if we can get this fight here. That's the exciting bit. Okay, plenty of meeting battles. Let's see what we actually get here. After the port strikes, of course. Cruiser on cruiser fight. Guess we gotta do that first. Wish I could choose which order to play the meeting battles in. Because I'm excited to see if I actually get that big fight. Anyway, Arkansas. Taken on these cruisers before. The dangerous part is when they get close and launch torpedoes, and then I have to turn. Exposing the fore and aft belts. Knocked out a torpedo. Still got plenty of torps though. There we go, scoring hits. And they're coming in. And they've launched torpedoes. Their tower is out. Back on a parallel course. Yeah, with their tower and fire control gone. As you can see, their accuracy is just way worse than mine. Well, I think we dodged those torpedoes. I'm getting more than 80% accuracy with my main guns. They're getting like 30. And there we go. Nice. Arkansas is down. Oh. That's not the big British task force. That's just a bunch of cruisers. That's not really what I wanted. But it's what I got. So that's what we get. Well, let's sink some ships. We got 6 battleships here. That should be sufficient. Just gonna send everything else back because it's not needed. Turn off those torpedoes just so we don't have any accidents. These guys have torpedoes too. Off. Alright, battleships. You can just be one big happy family. I'm being spotted first, of course. And there is the enemy heavy cruiser. It is one of these things. Fast. Loads of torpedoes. Is that the same? Hang on. And for some reason I remembered these having bigger torpedoes and longer range ones. But I guess they're only 19-inch. Standard torpedo propulsion. Alright. Let's go with HE. I've got very big guns. I can penetrate their extended belts. Should be fine. That's gonna hit. Blocked though. 1.5 fore and aft. I think I can pen that. What's your superstructure armor? 3-inch. It's more than expected. Still gonna get those 4-belt penetrations though. And like that. And like that. This is definitely not immune to flooding. And the entire hull is on fire from the inside. There we go. Now, most of you can focus Cleveland. With one each on Graham and Stringham. I think we just scored a hit on something there. Yeah, Cleveland. That is quite the line of battle. Yeah, Cleveland is taking pretty big hits. Gonna get it down first. And then I guess they're just gonna switch to whichever destroyer is the closest. Yeah, this is barely target practice. There we go. 3 on each. I still would have wished to engage that big British task force, though. That is Graham just instantly deleted. Only Stringham left, which I think is feeling a bit nervous right about now. I don't think the crew on Graham had time to abandon. The ones in Stringham might have. But there we go. And some more cruisers here, this time off the coast of Florida, in the Gulf of wherever. 2 Macons, 2 Oakland, and some of these very cheap Kennison class destroyers. We got fast battleships and battlecruisers. Well, that's perfect. Alright. Super duper firing 16-inch guns. Let's get to work. Everything else can go home. I guess I need the light cruisers, the battle cruisers too. They can come in handy. There we go, all 4 of them. I still have not found an opportunity for Helge Ingstad to ram a transport ship. I hope it gets to do that at least once during the campaign. We're being spotted first, of course. I'm very pleased with how these turned out. With the quad super firing turrets. That's kind of funky. They're opening up. Let's have the 15s target Puerto Rico. The 16s Samoa. Do I have enough HE pen to go through anything? I guess maybe. Maybe I do. AP might actually be more effective though for the 15s. There we go, getting some hits. Very nice. The towers are out. Okay, I'm gonna go back to Malta. Samoa is almost gone. Samoa goes down. Battleships can switch to the other heavy cruiser, which is now also gone. So we're going to switch the battle cruisers to the destroyers. Battleships can deal with the light cruisers. Very nice. In fact, heavy Inkstyle can also target Savannah. First enemy destroyer and second enemy destroyer already down. We're just gonna switch to the cruisers. And if they get close enough, have the secondaries target that destroyer, but that might not be needed. Which ship has taken damage here? It says I've taken 753 damage. I guess that is Helge Ingstad. But she's still at 100%. I'm not sure how that calculates, but okay. Possibly some kind of rounding error. But there we go. That's another American task force barely defeated. Not much of a task force though. Not sure what kind of task they expected to be performing with this. And there we go. Nice. Well, I guess feeding me victory points is it is something. And the last one is here. Good Hope class heavy cruiser and Liberty class destroyer. We've seen these before. Let's send them down and then figure out where to send ships to fight that big force of British battleships. And here we go. Just 2 ships this time. Shouldn't be much of a problem. 18s are loaded with HE. 13s on Kanadi. You can target Tactician whenever it's in range. That's gonna hit. Nice. Now we're just gonna sail parallel and wait for the enemy to explode. There we go. A couple more like that, and Roxburgh should be finished. Like so, for example. Or like that. Don't leave a mark. So that's the enemy heavy cruiser done. Now Tactician. She gonna do something tactical. Just keep sailing straight ahead, waiting to eat a couple of big battleship shells. I think we found the answer. And there we go. Nice. Alright. So, once again, that big British force has evaded me. Let's see. Gotta click through this stuff first. Alright. They're not here. Where are they? Where are they? Here are they. I found them. 4 battleships, 4 battlecruisers. Right. Let's send the big guns. I mean, it does make sense for them to go here, because that stops my naval invasion. Come on, game. Respond, please. Thank you. That's those 2. Come on now. There we go. Let's have them join up like that. In fact, let's send them like here. Gonna join up. And like so. And like so. Because there is a single destroyer here too. So there's the chance that instead of fighting this big task force, I'm just gonna get to fight that single destroyer. So with 3 task forces surrounding them, almost no matter which it is, I will get to fight the big one. And France is trying to invade Helgoland. Okay. Tordenskjold. You're gonna be fighting some French cruisers. Because there are more of them coming. I think. Let's see. 100% there. 100% here. 100% here. This convoy battle we're gonna do next time. 100% here. Currently at 0. Because of that big British task force. And yeah. Alright. Things are looking okay. Even the transport capacity is keeping up. But that's it for now. Goodbye, and take care.